In this video, I'm going to show you how to tune your snare wires by detuning them all to 0 and tuning them each one by one up to their optimal tension, all in 15 seconds or less. This is the third in a 4-part video series about how to tune your snare drum. Okay, so you probably have 3 questions about that. The first is, why do you have to tune your snares in 15 seconds? So there's 2 times I really tune snare wires. One is right before a rehearsal or performance, so you want to do it quickly, and the other time I tune my snare wires is when I'm tuning the top and bottom heads. I'm going to go over this really in depth in the next video, but basically every time I make a turn on either head, I'm going to completely re-optimize the snares by bringing them down to 0 and back up. You end up doing that a ton of times when you're tuning your drum because you have to make a lot of adjustments. And that might sound like overkill, but it's not, especially if you can get really quick at this process. Second question is, why do you have to tune them down to 0 each time? Well, the first snare that you're going to tune out of 3 or 5 or however many you have, you want to do it extremely accurately and precisely, and you can't do that when the other snares are buzzing in the way. So if all the other ones are at 0, you can do that one in isolation. The second reason is that tuning your snare wire shouldn't be an endless process of futzing with the wires, cycling from louds to mids to softs, back to louds and then rechecking softs. You want to develop a system. You tune up the first one, then the second, then the third, and you're done, period. Your goal is to develop this system. You want to find a prescribed set of actions to reach the optimal tensions for each of the snares. 0 is just a baseline. You establish that you're starting in the same place each time and develop your system from there. It's just like being a guitar player in a band. You want a system for tuning your instrument so that you're not up there dinging the E string over and over and the whole band is waiting for you to start. Coming up with this system is going to be a bunch of effort at the start, but eventually you're going to get really good at it, so it'll go quickly each time. Question number 3 is, how do you develop a system? And that's what I'm about to show you, including showing you exactly what I do for my drum. So step 1 is to explore the snare wires. Basically, you want to know what each set of snare wires can do. You want to know how good your soft snares can sound at soft and how good your louds can sound at loud. You're deeply listening to the sound of the snares at each dynamic. What does the buzz sound like? Is it compact? Do the snares activate immediately, or is there a delay? How far to the edge can you play and still get a response? What's the crack like at the loud volume? So do this. With all the snares at 0, choose one snare, tune it up bit by bit, every single time checking how it sounds at soft, medium, and loud, and really listen to the snare response along the way. There's going to be one exact point that's best for that snare at its target dynamic. As you get into focus, you keep turning it and you wonder if you should turn it a little bit more, and you get a little too far beyond the focus point and then you bring it back. Eventually you'll zero in and land on the right point. Make a mental note of how it sounds there. Step 2 is to experiment with tuning schemes. Your tuning scheme is going to end up looking something like this. First, tune X snare wire up while testing it at Y volume until blank, like maybe until it sounds in focus. Then tune Z snare wires while testing it at whatever dynamic until something else happens. When I tune my 4-inch, my system is tune the loud snares up while testing at a soft volume until the moment before the loud snares choke the soft sound. Then tune the soft snares up while testing it at a soft volume until it comes into focus. And then tune the mid snares while testing it at a mid dynamic until that comes into focus. That's a great system because you never have to test it really loudly and annoy other people, which I'm a fan of. So try one. Start with everything at 0, choose one set of snares, tune it up while testing until you get it to its focus point. And then go to the next set of snares, and then the next until they're all tuned up. Remember the order you went in. You're not only listening to how each set of snares sounds now, you're also listening to how they interact and how the drum sounds as a whole. How's the snare response at all the dynamics? Are the loud snares choking the soft? Are there any gaps from loud to soft in snare response? So write it all down. Your order, how you tested each one, and what the drum ended up sounding like. Unless that happens to be a perfect system for your drum, you're probably going to have to test another. So pick a different order, and then another and another until you find something that really works. Here's a few things to keep in mind. Ideally, you don't want to have to revisit a snare that you already tuned. That's not efficient, and you can probably find a better order or scheme for your drum. Second thing is, you might have to make a compromise sometimes. Like, for instance, the loud snares can often choke the soft snares, especially if you bring the loud up as tight as you want them to be. So often what I'll do is I'll bring the louds down below their ideal point, just below the point where they're not choking the softs anymore. The third is, remember what you're looking for here. You're looking for a quick, compact, full snare sound that sounds immediately when you play a stroke and there's no delay or dullness after you hit the drum. Step 3 is choose a winning scheme and practice it a bunch. You want it to be so comfortable so that you can trust that you know how to do it, and you can do it quickly at the beginning of rehearsal, right before an audition, or right in the middle of a lesson if you have to. So don't be scared of losing a good snare wire setup that you did one day. The skill here is to achieve that again, anywhere, anytime. So force yourself to learn that skill by constantly detuning your drum and bringing it back up. I laid out this whole process in checklists and diagrams in my Snare Drum Tuning Guide PDF, which you can download from robknopper.com/tuning guide. If you want to learn how to put a new snare drum head on or to become a better snare drum tuner, go to my YouTube channel and watch the other videos I already put out about that. And next week's video is all about how to tune the top and bottom heads and find the right pitches and ratio for them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.